welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. I'm one of your hosts, maybe the main host. Ooh, controversial. I am your captain.
It's not controversial.
Is it not? I am one of, as I say, one of the hosts. I am the captain of anime. I am Zane Taicho. And as always, I'm joined by my fantastic co-host, Mr. Susu Day. How are you, good sir?
It's the weekends.
Yeah.
the work day is done. The sun is out.
Mm.
What's there more to say?
The real question is, are you going to watch Kenobi first or Stranger Things?
I mean, I haven't seen the previous season of Stranger Things, so possibly
Really?
possibly Kenobi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No shade. I don't know. I watched the first season of Stranger Things, and I just never
Mm.
got around to watching any seasons after that.
So, I mean, this is the fourth season. So yeah, you got some work if you want to catch up. Like you got a lot of stuff.
I don't want to catch up. It's fine. I'm fine. I've got enough to do without trying to catch up with something which the fourth season's going to have like movie long episodes.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. We're going on a massive tangent. Maybe even going into Undisputed Nerds category, which is another podcast. If you want to check that out. But today we are going to talk about mech anime. Do I pronounce anime weird? It's something that I've seen on our TikTok, and I'm wondering. I'm always conscious. Is it anime or anime?
Anime. I don't think it really matters. Well, I'm sure that it does matter, but I don't really care, to be honest. Everyone learns to speak independently of one another. People say things in weird ways. I used to know a girl who couldn't say the word wolf properly, according to me. She said wolf.
Interesting.
Yeah, but no, people are just different. People are born different.
Who can forget Benedict Cumberbatch and his pronunciation of penguin?
Yeah, penguin.
Yeah, penguin.
Gotta love a penguin.
We are going through tangent like crazy. We are going to talk about some mech animes today. More about the fall of mech animes. We'll go into more detail what we mean by that. But of course, this is the podcast where we talk about anime and manga, maybe give you some recommendations of things you may never have heard of. So if you do find an anime or a manga, and just let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to know what your thoughts are. But now, before we get on with the rest of the news, I'd like to say a big thank you to this episode's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, which you can get 83% off and 3 months free if you go to surfshark.deals/undisputedanime and enter in the promo code undisputedanime, all one word. Surfshark VPN lets you trick your device into thinking it's in a different country, which opens up a whole world of content libraries. If you're in the UK, you could watch Japan Netflix, which will give you a far bigger selection of animes. If you're outside the UK, you could watch BBC iPlayer. And if you're in the US, you can finally get access back to the old WWE network. We've all been using Surfshark here at Undisputed Anime for a while, and it's our official VPN. And it doesn't just give you access to all the animes, it also secures your networks by encrypting internet traffic, keeping your location and download history private. Like my collection of shoujo mangas, which must be protected at all costs. My favourite feature for this is that Surfshark knows when my phone leaves a trusted connection, like my home or work internet, and it immediately turns on to prevent this interference. It's like having a JoJo stand for your phone. To sign up to Surfshark today, by using our link in the video description below, surfshark.deals/undisputedanime, which you can get 83% off and 3 months free if you go to surfshark.deals/undisputedanime and enter in the promo code Undisputed Anime. We really appreciate it if you at least check them out, as they've been great company and we love working with them. Support Undisputed Anime and support your internet privacy with Surfshark. I wasn't really going to do any Oi Josuke news, but I mean, it'd be weird not to talk about the one piece of anime news that came out this week that seems to have just erupted like crazy. And
Lay it on me.
that is the return of Hunter x Hunter.
Rain down that good news.
For those that are listening, Susude just kind of folded like a chair for a second there. Make sure to check it out on our YouTube channel if you want to see the video playback. But you excited?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. So anime wise, this is obviously an anime podcast. I haven't watched any of the Hunter x Hunter anime. However, I did read the manga up to date.
Yeah.
To the point where it stops. And then there was like a couple of very sporadic chapters, and after that point I was kind of like, I'm not sure. I was really bored by where it was in the story as well at that point.
Right.
But maybe I'll pick it back up just because when it was good, it was really good. It's just that when it was like where it was at when I stopped reading it, it was very, very boring for me anyway.
It's crazy and wild. Like, you know, there's in the community there has been this ongoing joke that Hunter x Hunter is never coming back. As you rightly pointed out, that with the manga series, there have been sporadic chapters here and there. So the last one was back in 2018. I know some fans are skeptical because they're kind of like, well, you know, we got these sporadic chapters. It doesn't mean like we'll be getting chapters monthly or weekly previously. But who's to say that we're not? Like, you know, at the moment, I think the mangaka's name is I'm not going to actually attempt that, but I know on his Twitter he pointed out that he had drafted the first 4 chapters, and
Yoshihiro Togashi.
There we go. Yeah, so he's drafted the first 4 chapters, which means at least we'll be getting 4 chapters. But yeah, it's exciting. You know, we're almost in this weird sort of renaissance of Bleach is coming back, Hunter x Hunter is coming back. Like,
what's next?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
is next? It's when they come out and they're like, well, after all this time, we're bringing back Tenchi Muyo.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like the whole idea. I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm just thinking, like, you know, Dragon Ball. Of course, there was Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball GT isn't canon, but we've got Super, which is a continuation now. It's just this kind of renaissance. Is the best way I can describe it. Of like, we're going back to the well one more time. Like,
and I mean, there's a lot of value in those old properties. I mean, like, they were popular back then. Why shouldn't they be something that is much more accessible to a newer generation? You know,
and a new audience. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So maybe I am excited about that. We'll see.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny. I'm gonna squeeze this down to like diamond density and just keep it, just in case.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So I guess we may as well just get into it. Let's talk about mech anime. If you're new to the genre, you may be saying, "What is mech anime?" I think it's probably fair to summarize that mech anime is super giant robots. I think there's a TikTok that explains this much better, called Gateway Anime, but they kind of summarize that there's two types of mech anime. There's the super giant robot kind, similar to your Power Rangers or Voltron, where there's a mystical element part of it, and then there's the other genre, the mech kind, where it's these tools of war, usually part of a uh, political, story-driven aspect, with a cock pilot, usually in the head or the chest of the robot, sort of thing. But yeah, we're just going to kind of, I guess, summarize both because they both fall into the mech category. Um,
Absolutely.
the downfall. Where do you think the downfall started?
I mean, I'm gonna just come in here hot, like right
Mm.
away. I think that maybe downfall is the wrong way to put it, but
Hmm.
I'd say at least personally, in my opinion, mecha anime has been less popular in recent years,
Absolutely.
and I think it's because there's only so far you can take it. I think that with titles like Gundam,
Hmm.
that's all very it's all very political and can be very easily related to the real world.
Yeah.
And then you've got like titles like Evangelion, which
Hmm.
has it's its own genre basically of mech anime.
Yeah.
Um, and while I would say that they've done everything that they need to done, apparently they will continue to milk Evangelion for all it's worth. Um, and and every now and then we'll get like a gem like Gurren Lagann, or
Hmm.
this could be a controversial one because I know that some people like it, some people don't like it, but things like Darling in the Franxx, and you know, I think that there's just been a less of an interest in it. I think it used to be like the hottest thing,
Yeah.
and now I think that because of the way that there's only a certain amount of ways that you can tell the story, a
Hmm.
mech anime story, because you either need a threat from outer space or you need a war on your own planet.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd also I'd also imagine that mechs are difficult to complicated to draw and to animate.
That's true. Yeah. Like I guess in the last sort of 10 years or so. Cool. Yeah. As you were saying about the animation style and such, I think in the last sort of 10 years, there has been the element of, sort of CG or 3D modeling introduced in certain animes. Um, when I mentioned the downfall, you know, as far back as anime has come from, back in the 70s, it was, the super giant robots. It's almost been synonymous with anime altogether. So in this sort of day and age where we're seeing less and less sort of mech anime series, um, it's a little bit heartbreaking. Now, I'm not saying like I'm the massive, super massive fan of mech animes, but I enjoy the occasional one that comes along. As you mentioned, Gurren Lagann, Darling in the Franxx, um, 8686, for example, um,
Star Driver.
Star Driver. But I guess what's happened is kind of one of two stories. Like when I looked into this, there seems to be one of two approaches. The first one is, you know, Gundam obviously being the flagship mech anime has been around for numerous years, and it feels too big to kind of, if you're new to the genre or want to kind of get into the genre, that seems massive to kind of take on, if you know what I mean. Um, which some people say similar thing about One Piece nowadays. It seems like it's so huge to kind of jump in, as a new reader, as a new watcher and stuff. So yeah,
Heavy as well. It's like Gundam's very heavy on the plot. It's not something that you can go in half-heartedly.
yeah, Absolutely, yeah. It can't be a casual watch. You have to give it your full attention, like you're watching Game of Thrones or something.
I can agree with that.
um, but it's. I feel like in the last couple of years, as we've mentioned, some of those titles, Darlings in the Franxx and Star Driver, a lot of the feedback is like they have a great first half, and then they seem to kind of like fall in the second half. Do you think that's a fair sort of assumption to make about some of the newer sort of mech animes to come out?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think that in with regards to stories where the mech is the primary component of
Hmm.
the story, like those sorts of stories, I think you're completely right in that they kind of teeter out in the plot, and sometimes it just doesn't feel good by the end of it. Whereas like
Yeah.
I'm quite a fan of when like mechs or mechas are kind of used as a peripheral element of the world. Like you've got stuff like Code Geass, Lelouch
Mm.
the Rebellion, where the mechs are there and they're constantly present in the story. It's like that's not what the story is about. It's like
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another story. Guilty Crown.
Yes.
Guilty Crown. The story isn't about mechs, but there's a huge mech element in it, which is really good. So you're getting like kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention Guilty Crown because at one stage it was like rated as one of the highest. I'm pretty sure it was in the top 5 of mech anime, and it's not even like the main character pilots a mech in the
Yeah,
series at all. Um,
absolutely.
but as you mentioned, things like Code Geass, it's that is a fantastic, phenomenal mech anime series. Um, I I'm scared with that particular franchise that they might do an Evangelion where I know recently there was a movie for it and I haven't seen it yet, but I feel like it's kind of having that effect where there's constantly these additional sort of stories and stuff, and it's kind of like
Yeah,
I don't want it to get that. Let it end. Let the
yeah,
past
yeah.
be the past.
I think with Code Geass, I watched the first season and then I watched
Mm,
the second season, and I don't think I ever watched it beyond that. And I
yeah.
think that at the end of the second season, that was that kind of the point where it's like the story felt done.
Hmm.
So even though they announced a new season and a new season to come back and stuff, I kind of like I never was inclined to go back to it. I didn't feel like I needed to. I
Yeah.
didn't feel like it felt like whatever happened next would be kind of not unnecessary because I'm sure that there's loads of people who like Sykes, but it just kind of felt like I didn't need to see any more of the story. I liked where the characters went. It felt like all of the character journeys were done.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely, absolutely. It's I'm just having a quick look as you were talking, just to see like how many new sort of mechs are coming out each year. So at the moment for 2022, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 12 new mech enemies, 3 of which are Gundam. Make that 4. Five. Five of which are Gundam series. Uh, yeah, it's. I guess the good and bad side of it is, there's so many variations of Gundam. Like, there's the main timeline. There's also spin-offs with the Build Drivers series, which is based around the Gunplas.
mhm.
Um, but there's one series which is really great for anyone new to the franchise called Iron Blood Works. No, not Iron Blood Works. Iron Blood.
You're
Fantastic
thinking about
series.
Fate Stay Night, weren't you? Then.
I know, yeah. It couldn't help myself but go into that Blood Works. But yeah, Iron Blood is a fantastic series that's accessible on Netflix. Yeah, on Netflix. But yeah, I think that's a great sort of if you're new to the genre, a great way to start.
I know. I'll tell you. A particularly good mech story, which I've been
Mm.
enjoying. I've not watched the anime yet, but I have been enjoying it in its manga form, and that's because it combines some elements of other genres that I very much like, and
Oh,
that is knights and magic, and it's basically an isekai story with mechs.
of course it is.
Yep, and you've got your magic, you've got your like isekai protagonist, you've got your
Yeah.
mechs, and he's an otaku from Japan who's obsessed with mechs from his life. So he's like, he comes to this world, finds out that there's mechs, and he's like, I'm gonna try everything I can to drive one of these things. And then
Mm.
it's like the story progresses, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna do everything I can to improve mechs.
Ooh.
It's
Wow.
it's it's really good. It's
Yeah.
really good as a manga. I hope I'm maybe this weekend I'm going to start the anime because it's so fun to read.
Wow. That's I kind of like the sound of that, to be honest.
It's a nice take because it's got kind of like it's another one of those stories where the mechs are a big part of the story. It's like
Mhm.
kind of I think that there's a lot more going on than just the mechs, even though
Yeah.
it is such a large component of it. I give it. I'd recommend it if you've got some time. You got some time coming up. You should give it a watch.
Depends on how good the hotel Wi-Fi is. I'm
I should hope it's excellent.
there are some good mech anime series, especially in the last sort of 2 years or so, maybe even longer than that in the last 5 years. I just really hope that more studios kind of jump in and create better stories. Because, for example, 8686 that came out last year was absolutely phenomenal.
And this is
Um,
when you rave on 86. You
yeah,
you can't say anything but good things about it.
absolutely. I was really blown away by how good the story was. Um, and then at the same time, there is other sort of m- anime animes that push it, like Gridman. Gridman is, what do I say? It is a CG based one. It's it has a depth to it, but saying it's a fantastic mech anime is almost like saying Power Rangers is a great Transformers. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
kind of
no, I get
like
that.
it totes the line of that genre.
I
um,
see it. I see what you're saying. Absolutely. Um, there's so much promise, and I really
mm,
hope that we're obviously here. Like the title of the episode, which I can't see right now, but based on the copy,
mm,
is the downfall of or Mecha. Um, I would love to see it have a resurgence. I'd love
yeah,
to see a couple of studios really do a good job and give us maybe not something that's going to be long lasting, maybe not something that's going to last like season upon season upon season. Give us something like another banger like Gurren Lagann, or
yeah,
something that is just like self-contained, start to finish, really epic.
absolutely. And I mean, we can't always rely on Trigger to smash out like a great mech series. I mean, I love the work they do, but um, like you say, Gurren Lagann, uh, Darling in the
Promare.
Franxx, Promet. I wasn't sure if that was a mech anime technically. Would you say it
It's
is?
I've got it here listed as a mech anime, and I
Mm,
think to some degree it's another one of the stories where there is a mecha in it.
hmm.
It's
Yeah,
like, but is it like it's not the be all end all of it? Is it?
yeah, that's
If
true.
anything, it actually feels very transformery, not transformery. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Power Rangery with a combining robot.
Yeah, yeah, like the sort of Voltron sort of type, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, come on, give us just reboot Voltron again. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely. I loved the Netflix one. Like I would quite happily watch another like reboot of it.
Yeah, the Voltron series is fun. It kind of leans more into the super robot category than mech. Um,
Yeah.
Out of interest, let me just have a quick look at how many isekais are coming out this year, just to give you
Give us some
a
isekais, guys.
comparison. Oh, bloody hell. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35,
Oh gosh.
36, 37, 38, 39. So we've got 39 isekais that come out this year alone in
Shut your
comparison
mouth.
to the 12 mech animes that I mentioned earlier.
That's the hotness right now. That's what people want to see.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a comparison, isn't it? Like something that's been around since it's since since this type of media has been around. They're only producing yeah, a
Well, it's
handful.
just
Yeah.
it's trends, isn't it? There's always trends, and
Hmm.
once the trend was mecha, once the trend was like magical girl anime, once it was like
Yes.
shows like Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
like really heavy on the battle, then we had like really traditional shonen stories like Naruto, Bleach,
Hmm.
One Piece. Um, it's like with all media, there's always trends, isn't there? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like how everyone's into reality TV shows these days.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Like it comes and goes in waves. From your battle shonens to I'm trying to think now. To your political dramas. It's I guess zombie is another one. The sort of
Zombie, yeah.
zombie genre has been and
Seinen,
gone.
Seinen is now really big at the moment.
Yeah, that's really huge at the moment right now, isn't it?
Hmm. So, and I mean, everything deserves it. Every genre deserves its chance in the sun.
Hmm.
Some genres get more than one. I think just the natural way that things work is it just is gonna rotate around and around, and we're probably gonna go back through. Like all it takes is for a studio to release an absolute banger of
Hmm.
a genre. Like
Yeah.
all it would take is for a studio to come out and like do a series which is a flawless magical girl anime, and
Yeah.
everyone will want a piece of that pie again.
Yeah. I was as you were saying that, I was thinking of a sports anime.
Sports, yep. All it takes. Like, what sport hasn't been done yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, which is hilarious because we just had badminton this year, a badminton anime series.
Yep. So, I mean, what's it going to be? It's going to be a lacrosse series next, maybe? Would you watch a lacrosse anime? I might.
I might. I mean, I wasn't ever going to watch a volleyball one until I did.
Let's do water polo. You and me. We'll get together. We'll script and we'll pitch a water polo anime.
I think I think that's already happened with it's not free. It's called Maine, I think. Came out last year
Okay.
or 2 years
Let's have a
ago.
look here. I'm gonna have a let's have a look here. It's gonna. You know what? We're from the UK. Darts anime.
Darts. Wow.
Darts.
Wow.
Um, how about underwater rugby? Whitewater rafting. That's not obscure, but yeah.
Mm. I,
Maybe they'll give us just an extreme like like rock climbing like one like
oh,
bouldering.
yeah. I funny enough, I just watched a rock climbing documentary on Netflix, so that would make a lot of sense.
They've already done
Um,
ping pong, haven't they?
yeah. Isn't
Gosh.
snooker or pool?
Oh, I don't know if there is one, but I would. Would you watch one about pool? Maybe
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
British Bulldogs. Wait,
One
wait.
of the
Gonna go on server. Slaps. So,
But on that beautiful tangent, would you say there's anything else about mech, the downfall of mech anime?
like I said at the beginning, I think that it's less of a downfall and more
Mm.
that it's currently had its time in the sun, and I think it's time for it to kind of rest on the porch with a glass of lemonade in the shade, maybe on a rocking chair. Just enjoy some downtime,
Yeah.
and then once they've had that downside, maybe their time will come again. But I think that where a lot of, and this goes for all media,
Hmm.
I think where a lot of mistakes are made is that people don't know when to say stop,
Hmm.
and they continue to a property will get really popular, and then the people who are kind of making money from it will
Hmm.
continue to try and make money off it. They'll keep beating the dead horse until it stops
Mm.
coughing up money. And I think that where TV shows work really well is where the showrunners have the self-awareness to say, this is the story I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
If I tell any more, I'm going to be forcing it to be stretched out, and
Hmm.
it'll go down in quality. And I would love it if a lot of like genres would just not go away, but just kind of like back up, let it go out of people's minds for a bit, and then come back in a couple of years' time where everyone's kind of like not so saturated in those things. Like the same thing's going to happen with isekai soon, I imagine.
Mm.
Like we're so oversaturated in isekai at the moment that eventually no one's going to enjoy it because there's only so many ways you can do an isekai.
Yeah.
So it'll need to have some time away before everyone will be into it again.
Yeah. I agree with
And
that. It's. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I was saying, I think that's why Dragon Ball Super was so good, was so entertaining, because Dragon Ball went away for a long time before it came
Hmm.
back. So and it made it so much more enjoyable to pick it up again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I think you're right in that regard because again, before we even started this podcast, we were talking about Obi-Wan. You know, we haven't seen Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan for numerous years, but having him come back in this new light is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really want to see more mech anime. Um, I think there are still great stories to tell with that genre, and it doesn't always have to be the same sort of political, race driven battle. I think there's other things available. I'm really excited for the new Gundam, which has its first female pilot as the not first female pilot, but first main female main character, which comes out later this year. So yeah, I think there's more. I'm really hoping, and I'm putting my hope out there, being optimistic with this podcast as well. But I'm really optimistic that there'll be some more mech type anime, and I really want it to prosper and be up there with the battle shonens, like you know. As much as people talking about Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero Academia, I'd love for people to be talking about a mech series in the same breath.
Tell you what, I will give you a mech title that I would
Mm.
love to see get another anime
Yeah.
after all these years. It's a very, very beautiful, amazing mech video game series
Ooh.
called, and I think you'll know this one, Zone of the Enders.
Wow.
I know that I don't think I've ever watched it, but I'm pretty sure that Zone of the Enders has a kind of has an 2001. They had
Yeah.
Zone of the Enders Dolores. But I would love to see Zone of the Enders get like a modern day anime treatment.
As a series or just like a movie or OVA?
I would take either.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would love to see that. I mean, I've been waiting around for years and years and years for them to announce Zone of the Enders 3, to be honest. Don't know, think it's ever going to come. Would love for
Mm.
it to come. Give me an anime instead.
It's a great shout. It's a great shout. In this day and age where video games do have anime series like God Eater, of course the Persona games having their own anime series now as well. Why not Zone of the Enders?
Please give it to us.
I guess it just gets a bit ropey when it comes to Hideo Kojima because he has his own studio now, where it was
Very
originally.
true. Very true. Guess that's something I hadn't considered. So sad.
But I hear you, and I'm with you on that one. Oh man, I'd love to play Zone of the Enders now, especially the second one.
Yeah, second one. Ooh, top tier. Great.
Ooh,
Especially when you
yeah,
get Zero Shift finally.
man, yeah. Maybe I'll look out for a figure. I think that sounds cool, like an Anubis or a Jehu.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it Jehudi?
Jehuti, yeah.
Jehudi. A figure. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Oh, you can get model kits as well. Oh,
Really?
yep, you get
Is
model
it
kits.
Gunpla?
I don't know if it's a Gunpla, but you can get model kits. Looking pretty nice. Oh my gosh. you should take a look at that when you're alone.
Okay, okay. Um,
That's beautiful. Sorry, it's very clear that I'm still looking at it, isn't it?
I could hear it. I could hear you clicking away. I guess that's. I guess that's the episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Let us know your thoughts on the whole mech genre. Is there certain ones we missed off our list? Are we completely wrong? Is there a huge comeback that we're completely oblivious to? Let us know. You can email us undisputedanime@gmail.com. Of course, you can find us on all the social medias, undisputed underscore anime. Of course, Twitter, Instagram. We have a Facebook page, which, to be fair, I'm not big on Facebook, but if you are, make sure to check it out. Everything will be linked in the description down below. Oh, before I forget, thank you to today's episode sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Of course, link and discount code will also be in the description down below. It's 83% off with 3 months free. Make sure to use the discount code Undisputed Anime.
You know what goes better with goes really well with anime? A
Yeah.
top quality VPN to watch
Mm-hmm.
anime in regions that you don't have access to it.
This is very true. Very true.
So
Fantastic. Make sure to click that link, at least check it out. Be help supporting us in a big bad way. Of course, like, share, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, make sure to give us a star rating and drop us a comment. Any final words, Mr. Susu Day?
with the summer coming, it's always worth to consider to stay hydrated
Yes.
and make sure that if you are of the fairer skin, even if you're not of the fairer skin, you're wearing suntan lotion, protecting that gorgeous skin, staying young longer.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's my sage wisdom as a 30-something-year-old.
Perfect. On that note, have a great weekend. Have a great time. Until next time, where we'll be coming back with a brand new episode. Ciao for now.
ready